Hi everyone, this is my tarot reading for 2026. I'll also put some astrology for 2026 at the end of the video with a timestamp. So the way I've structured this, I pulled one card for an overall read for the year, and then pairs of cards for the beginning, the middle, and the end of the year, and then a final card. So, and just to mention the crystals, I've got a red tiger's eye, I've got a clear quartz and amber for 2026. Okay, starting with the Page of Wands. So this gives the overall energy for the year, and this represents good news ahead. So Page of Wands represents new energy, a new journey, and a positive change. Wands represent work and daily life, so where we place our energy and how we spend our active time. Pages are sometimes seen as messengers. They can also represent young people or just having a youthful, vibrant, forward-thinking attitude and having new plans for the future. So this will be a year when you go in a new direction in some endeavor, and that will continue to grow and develop over many years to come. So it's very much a new beginning energy, like the shoots growing out of the wand that he's holding and looking at, and you can see him thinking about what are these going to develop into. And the clear sky behind him represents having a clear mind, so not carrying clouds from previous years and previous experiences onto this new journey. So then I pulled for the first part of the year the Emperor card. Now this represents Aries, which is in April. So this energy goes from now up until then. So the Emperor can be a controlling authority figure. It can be a boss or a father or some other sort of authority. It can also represent you standing in your power and saying very clearly what you want and what you don't want. It's a very dynamic energy. So it's about being more assertive and less apologetic in what you say than usual. It could also be a male or authority figure who's not very nice, who's blocking you from getting to the mountains behind him. Can you just see in that card, there are mountains behind him, but he's very much blocking the way. Unlike in the Page of Wands card, where he's standing there in this environment and there's no barrier to him going anywhere. So I pulled a clarifier for this because I felt like there was kind of a negative energy to this, and got the Devil card. So Devil represents obstacles and restrictions or overcoming obstacles. And these two cards represent the situation that you've been in. So whatever situation you're in now and you're bringing into the year, this is represented here. You can see the people in the Devil card are chained, they're restricted, they're stuck, they're having to be obedient and follow someone else's rules. So it's pretty heavy energy, but that's what we're bringing into the year in this first couple of months. So then I pulled the next card for the middle of the year. So this is around sort of late April up until around August, and we got the Ace of Cups. So this is a really positive card. The hand that comes out holding these ace cards is the hand of God, and cups represents emotions. So it's a gift from the heavens, peace represented by the dove, and joy are coming. The idea of the Ace of Cups is that your cup runneth over, representing emotional fulfillment. There's a sense of deep gratitude for a blessing or an opportunity that comes in, and a really strong feeling of relief and release from this previous situation. So yeah, a sense of peace of mind and peace of heart. So this blessing that comes in will arrive really easily, and it's a feeling of fulfillment that you may have even forgotten about. You won't have felt this for a very long time, or you may have just felt like, oh, I won't feel that way again, or that's just not an option for me. Well, the Judgment card, which clarifies this, is saying that it is. So it's saying that you deserve what comes in, you've earned it. And these challenges and obstacles that you've faced over a long time, yes, they've tested you and they've made you strong and resilient and you're a survivor, but it's not supposed to be like that forever. It may feel like it has been, or it may have felt hard to visualize things changing or being different. But the message here is not to fear that this next part of your journey will not have the same difficulties, because you've overcome them now. That's an experience you've had, and it's not one that you're supposed to repeat. So what's next will really feel like being reborn. It will feel easier. It won't feel heavy like things have for a long time. And like the sun is coming out, that sense of just relief. So that's the middle of the year. Then we come up to, I feel like late August, September onwards to the end of the year. And I pulled the Knight of Cups. So you can see here, he's taken the cup that was handed out in the part of the year. He's accepted that. He's accepted the gift, the new energy, the new situation, and is moving forward with it. And he's moving forward away from everything that's come before. He's moving past, the control and the restrictions and the obstacles. And he's taking this cup, looking forwards and moving off on his new journey. So again, that cup representing peace, that will be on that new journey, the emotional fulfillment it will bring that was missing from the previous situation. And it could feel strange at first. So, just allow it and try not to be too suspicious of it and feel like, oh, it's just going to go away. So you can see he's back out in nature. There's no obstacles. There's a river. There's the mountains. And this new journey will have a sense of flow. You can see also he's got wings on his helmet and on his shoes. And that shows he's ready to just move ahead, embrace what comes, with an open heart. Cups representing the heart and emotions. So message here is that staying heart-centered on this next journey will be the key to success. And then I pulled the clarifier, the Knight of Pentacles below. So again, another knight. This represents work and stability. It's good for finance. It's good for security. So he's someone who's worked hard, and even though he's worked hard, he's not at the end of the journey. It says that you've still got potential to fulfill and ways that you can and you will develop in your new situation that you just couldn't do in your old situation. You were either blocked or not believed in, or just went as far as you possibly could. And also in the old situation, you didn't feel emotionally safe. And when we're not emotionally safe, we don't relax, we don't open up, we don't take risks. So that feeling of emotional safety for you is key. And when you feel like that, you'll be able to share that and bring that to the people around you for everybody's benefit. So these two Knight cards moving forward to the new really do symbolize that you'll be successful in this new situation that you're moving into. And again, heart-centered. Make decisions with your heart, speak from your heart, act from positive, heart energy, and that will be a key to success. It's not weak, it's actually a sign of strength. And then finally, I just pulled a card to round off the reading, and we got a really nice one, Ace of Swords. So this is like pulling the sword from the stone. It represents a breakthrough. And overall, there's a really nice balance of the different elements in the reading, all in a positive way. We've got the swords, cups, wands, and the pentacles. So this might be really hard to imagine happening at the moment, if you're listening to this at the end of December when I'm recording it, or even for the first few months of the year. You might feel like, how is all this good stuff going to come in? How are things going to change? But look for a turnaround, some sort of breakthrough mid-year, and don't give up. Know that things will get better. You are in some very heavy energies at the start of the year, and as I say, have been for a long time. These are major arcana. This is a big situation you've been embedded in. But, you know, you've really karmically earned good things coming in the next stage, and you will take all those lessons and those experiences and turn them into something good and beneficial and reach sort of heights that perhaps you wouldn't have been able to or to understand so deeply if you hadn't experienced the intensity of some of these difficulties. So that is my card read for 2026. I'm just going to go now a little bit, for those of you interested in the astrology, into some of the things that I'm looking out for in 2026, and you might find useful to know. So I always start with Mercury retrogrades. These are times of reflection before actions, sort of like internal buffer zones. And I also include the shadows. So each Mercury retrograde goes for 3 weeks. There's 3 each year. And you get a buffer 2 weeks before, when Mercury's retrograding. Well, you're sort of on that ground where the Mercury is going to retrograde over, and then 2 weeks after the retrograde where Mercury gets back to where it was at the start. So first one is 12th of February to 10th of April. Second is 13th of June to the 29th of July. And the third is the 5th of October to the 30th of November. Second thing I like to know about are eclipses. So these come in pairs. There are 2 each year. And the time between the eclipses, this window of, you know, insight and intuition and possibility. So they can also be seen as turning points, ending points or beginning points, and also times when things are revealed or hidden. So first one is solar eclipse on February 17th at 28 degrees of Aquarius. 2 weeks later, on 3rd of March, total lunar eclipse at 12 degrees of Virgo. And then the second pair is August 12th, total solar eclipse at 20 degrees of Leo. And then 2 weeks later, on August 28th, partial lunar eclipse at 4 degrees of Pisces. The third thing I want to talk about is the month of February. So February is a huge month with a lot of change, and the slower moving outer planets changing direction or changing sign and moving ahead, which is really powerful. So there's a strong sense in February of the old way just can't continue anymore, and it's time to move forward, but move forward carefully. So we have Saturn going direct into Aries on the 15th of February, Uranus going direct on the 4th of February in Taurus at 29 degrees, which intensifies things. It's that anaretic final degree of the sign before it goes into Gemini on the 27th of April. And then Pluto going fully direct in Aquarius on the 5th of February. So it's out of its retrograde shadow. So we've got all these retrogrades. We've got a Mercury retrograde, and we're between the eclipses in February. So how to interpret this? It's just really a pivot month. So these big transitions can happen internally first and feel very internal at first. And then they can manifest physically, sometimes straight away, but often not till months later, which really does tie in with the tarot read as well. So there's a sense of knowing you've got to go forward and not back. And as the planets go direct and start to move over the coming months, there's a sense of decisions becoming clearer and your momentum returning, and just the external events and world catching up with all your internal processing and realizations. Now, Pluto going direct. Pluto is the planet of transformation. So this to me represents people just really rethinking where they belong and what they stand for. And Uranus going direct. So Uranus is about breakthrough and sudden unexpected change. So this can represent internal change as well, like changing values and priorities. And it's very much an energy of letting go of the the familiar. So moving beyond comfort zones that are just not in your best interest anymore and just not sustainable anymore. So especially if you're a fixed kind of person, it can feel really unsettling, letting go and moving on, but it does lead to a sense of liberation. I think that's the key, liberation from these attachments and outdated situations that you've been in and things you've done just because it's familiar, just because you know it and you've done it for a long time. But even those situations change, and it's, like I say, just a time. It's your time to move on. It's your time for liberation. But none of the challenges and none of the difficulties were wasted or for nothing. Everything you've learned and seen and realized is something you carry with you, and you have the power to turn into good in your own life and in the lives of other people who you touch and you influence. And I think that's the key for 2026. So thank you for listening, everybody, and I'll talk again soon.